Hey guys, welcome back from Classic Work. I've had numerous requests out there to do a shop update, and I had a couple of people interested in my rig, all the upgrades I've made to it over the years. And since we got some new folks out there, most people know what I do, but we got some new folks too, so I'm just going to show you a little bit more about what I do and who I am. So I am self-employed welder and machinist, and I've got my own mobile welding rig here, and it looks like we got a bird trying to build a nest in the crane again. Anyways, I've talked about a lot of this before, but I'll go over it again for the guys out there that don't know. This right here, my welding truck, is a 99 Ford 550. It's got the International 7.3 liter Power Stroke diesel in it. It's got a 6-speed manual transmission in it, and I absolutely love this truck. It's a great truck. My dad bought it back in, oh man, I can't remember what year it was. He ran it, probably one of the longest running trucks he ever ran, and he's the one that put the utility bed on there. He also put a 2-foot platform where the welder sits on there, and he retired this truck for a number of reasons. The biggest one was he wanted a bigger crane, and he wanted to put a bigger crane on this truck, but the truck was already overloaded, so he just wound up buying another truck pretty much. So he's got one, if you can believe it, that's a size bigger, but it looks twice as big as this truck. He's got a 6500 Chevrolet. It's got a small Caterpillar in it and a 9-speed. It's a nice truck. Got power rotation on the crane and everything. I'll show y'all a picture of it. It's a good looking truck. But anyways, enough about that. Talk to y'all a little bit about this one. Most of the guys out there that know, I built my own brush guard for this truck. I've actually got a video on it, the steel pipe miter. I'll put a link down in the description where you can see all the upgrades that I did to this truck, so you can kind of get a glimpse of it for yourself. I actually tested out. Me and a good friend of mine, we were driving home one night, and we hit a deer in it about 2 months ago, and the worst that it did is it put a little blood on the bumper. I think most of it's washed off, but it hit right around in here. There's still a little bit of a stain on there. Let's see. A couple of cool things about this truck is I've got a jumper cable extension on there. You can see where the sun's bleached all that out. If y'all don't know about these, there's a company, I'll have to look them up and show y'all, but this type of setup is awesome. That is either a 0 or a 2-aught cable going to that, so there is some extreme juice going through there. I'll show y'all a demonstration of how good those really are. And plus, I've got D-rings on this truck. This truck, even though it's got the stance of a 4-wheel drive, it is not 4-wheel drive, and it will get stuck on a banana peel. So I've been pulled out, I can't tell you how many times. It is not good in the mud, not at all. So we'll walk on down here towards the bed. This was another upgrade I made to the truck. I have a video on that. I'll post it in the description. Is the oxygen acetylene build. I think that's the name that I called it. If y'all are interested in kind of the overview of it, I've got an SA 200 Lincoln on here that's got what me and my dad call a bulldozer fan. It pushes the air through the radiator, and I was real concerned that it was going to get my regulators too hot. I've ran this rig now for I think 2 years with this setup, and it's never hurt them. So if you're wanting to build something like that and you were scared like I was, then it is not a big deal. It's held up really well. I love it. It's very easy to get the bottles off. They were sitting in the back of the truck, and it made it very, very difficult. So coming to the side of the bed right here, this here is a Ronson and Nkow bed. It is a very, very well built bed. Just show y'all a couple of things I've got mounted on top. I've got my oxygen acetylene reel with my air compressor reel on top, both Cox reels, both very good reels. I've got a Magellan Cooler and my Igloo on the back. I don't really use my Igloo anymore to carry potable water. That's usually what I wash my hands with now. So that's, I know that seems like a one-trick pony, but you could put water in it too. If you were going on a big job, you knew you were going to need a lot. And it's starting to rain a little bit. Anyways, I'll show y'all some of the doors. stuff I've got. I actually love this bed. It works really well, and it's got a pile of miles on it, so you can tell from the paint being wore off, you know, how much it's been used. This side of the truck I really use for mechanic style purposes. I've got a lot of my air tools on this side, a lot of my impacts and specialty wrenches. I've got a lot of Allen wrenches and Torx and swivels and everything up in this compartment. All my cutting stuff is on this side for my acetylene torch. And then all my chemicals, you can tell they're all jumbled up in there. I've hit some bad bumps and kind of tossed them around a good bit. And then there's my jumper cable setup, my portaband, and my big grinder in the bottom. So this side is primarily, like I said before, for mechanic-wise stuff. So if I know I'm going to be doing a lot of mechanic work, I'll pull this side of the truck to the job. So that's kind of how that's set up. We'll walk over here. This is my Montezuma Toolbox. Give me 1 second and I'll open it real quick. There you go. These are great boxes. They really fell off the horse with these new ones. They're flimsy. I tell you, you can grab these lids. If they sit there, see, that's really stiff. Most of them, they'll tweak way down. They're not made the way they used to be made. But this is one of the older generation styles. I think this one was built in probably '08. That sounds about right. But love this box. You know, you got very good organization. You've got room for all of your wrenches up top, metric and standard, and then you've got lots of room for all of your sockets. Cool thing about it, if something's missing, you can look real quick and say, oh, we got some size missing. You can look and see what size. It's a 19, it's probably a 20 missing, or 21 in this case. So you know just by a glance if you've got anything missing. You also can lift the socket rail up. You got more storage, and you can lift the bottom rail up. Got more storage down below. So great design. It holds everything nice and tight. You won't lose most stuff. If you hit some bad bumps, these wrenches will fall off on the back. But, and let's see, I've been running this rig 4 years now. I think the box has been in there 4 years, and it's held up extremely well. So I'm very pleased. The other thing too, I've got this whole Rock Island vise. Very good vise. Probably built back in World War II, somewhere in that era. It's got a little rain on it. It's not squeaking. It still runs very true. I love the old vise. It's a good one. And then we've got my 2,400 pound auto crane. Now I've had several people ask me about this, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. This has got an 8,000 pound Warren. Some people call it a monkey knuckle, I think. And this is a beast of an old winch. It is tougher than bull nuts. I mean, it is really tough. And this crane was not like this. It has been modified. If you notice this piece right here, see how it cuts down, it cuts back and forth? Somebody made this. The old winch sat right here. You actually can still, let me get up there and I'll show you. You can see the old spool is right here. They left it on there. And all this has been modified, but whoever did it did a very good job. So I love it. It's great. It'll get you out of a jam more than once. So I've also got my fire extinguisher mounted up under the crane. And this was a new addition, which was the generator. Now this is a Harbor Freight Special Predator. If y'all want to buy a good generator for not a lot of money, I have had very good luck out of this one. It'll start with one pull every time. It's got a kind of a Honda knockoff motor on it, so they're pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't had any problems with the electrical or the motor, and I've had this one, I think, 2.5 or 3 years now, and I've been pleased with it. So if you're looking for a generator, it's a good buy right there. So this side, this is my primary welding side. Okay, I've got a lot of my rigging stuff on this side, chain come-alongs, chains, binders, all kinds of stuff. My remote for my cranes in here. Got some clamps as well floating in there. This here is my go-to door, pretty much. This is where I keep all my grinders, all my layout tools. I've got a mess in here. I need to start organizing and cleaning up a little bit better. But when you run a truck, folks will tell you, if you own a service truck or run a service truck, that if it ain't got a mess in it, then you're not doing enough work. So they get jumbled up. You get stuff packed in there, and that's just the way it goes. Now this door I'm having issues with. Let me open it real quick. Okay, there we go. That's one thing about these beds. This is a great bed, but these latches, they give problems. You see how it's pulling out? It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be stuck together. There's several repairs been done to this bed, so it's just stuff you got to do. This is my primary welding side. I've got a set of Chisholm lead reels in here. I got my stub bucket. I've got my my lay down tire, my neck saver, and all my welding rods. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, why don't you have a rod oven on your truck? Well, the biggest reason is if I've got to do a critical job, I'll open a new can of welding rods just for that job. So if it's something that's got to be absolutely dead right. But other than that, they stay pretty dry. I need to build a rod oven to keep in the shop so I can keep some fresh rods around, especially on 7018. But that's the reason. I've had a couple of people ask about that. About these Chisholm reels, they are pretty good reels. I've liked them for as long as I've used them. The biggest complaint that I've had is, well, there's a couple of them I'll show you. Let's see if I can pull everything out real quick. The biggest thing that I don't like about these reels, and it'd be real easy to fix, I just hadn't done it yet, is these dead gum bolts on these reels. You'll be pulling your leads out and these leads will catch up under that every time and it'll stop it. I mean every time, not just sometimes, every time. It does it no matter what I do, unless you pull straight out, which is, you're not going to park the truck 50 feet away from the job this way. You're either going to be that way or that way. So that is one complaint I've had with them. And the bearings are starting to go out in my stinger here. You can hear they got a little roll to them. They got choppiness. This one don't sound like that. Well, if I unlock it, you can hear the difference. Anyways, so not thrilled about that, but other than that, it's been good reels. They roll up good, they work. I've never had a problem with grounding or anything, so been impressed. And the other thing, my I think this is a 73 SA 200 blackface. This is a great machine. This is Urza. Everybody knows it pretty well. It's been in numerous videos that I've done. Great welder. If y'all don't know much about the 200s, they probably arguably one of the best arcs out there, especially for a machine that's over 40 years old. So they're great machines. I don't care who you are, they're good machines. It's got the old Red Seal flathead Continental on it. They burn a lot of gas, but they get the job done. I've like all these welders, this one leaks oil. It's got a bad leak on it, so if you don't park it on level ground, it will leak it won't leak all of its oil out, but you'll definitely see you got a problem. So I've got to fix that one. Hopefully I've got another one in the works that I'm going to make into my spare. So that's the setup. The other thing is too, my lead reels that I've got here, I've got two stub ends that plug into here on my welder, and I've got a hot and my ground, and you can reverse them if you need to run TIG. So I kind of like the setup there. I talked about, you know, redoing it, but heck, it works good, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. I've also got my handyman, if y'all saw it, it's sticking right up next to the welder here. These are great jacks. They'll hurt you though. Be careful with them. I've Seen a lot of people that's got missing teeth and broken noses from these tools, so be careful with them. They will throw you. So they're great, just don't overload them pretty much. Y'all see the muffler up here? That's my Sanborn compressor. It's a 30-gallon. It's got an old Briggs and Stratton on it. That's been an excellent compressor. My dad ran it. He said he wished he had $1 for every hour that was on it. He probably could buy another truck. So it's been a trooper. It's been a good one. But the back here, on the back of the truck, I just got some miscellaneous stuff, a bunch of junk in here right now. I've got my spare mounted over here, and I've got 2 pipe stands and plus my umbrella, which is a must if you're going to run a service truck. And you know, the welder sits in there very, very comfortably. It was a squeeze to get it in there. It really was. And of course I got my boots in the way, but there's not much daylight between there and the cab. But I get a lot of people ask, why do you have a generator and a welder? If you don't know much about these SA200s, they are a DC generator only. So if you do not have tools that are designed to run on DC electricity, you'll burn them up. Case in point, I had this welder and I was running a hammer drill, which pretty much any tool that has brushes in it you can run on DC. Here's the rub though. If it's variable speed, that's what you'll burn up, is the switch, the variable switch on them. So that's exactly what happened. I was running my hammer drill and it was working fine for like probably 10 minutes, and I went to drill another hole and it quit. And what had happened was it burned up the, I don't know if it's a potentiometer or what it is in the switch to tell it to give it more voltage, but it had blown that up. I had to buy another switch for it and fix it. You know, it was $11 and I was down for a couple of days without it. But I borrowed somebody else's, I think, and made it work. But that is why I put the generator on here. It's AC, and I've got a mag drill that will run only on AC. So I know it seems kind of dumb, but it has helped me. It really has. The other thing is I can charge my cordless batteries with it, and also it doesn't burn near as much gas as Urza here does. Urza probably burns about 1 gallon an hour, and this generator, I've never really checked it because I haven't run it near as much as Urza, but it'd be safe to say it maybe burns maybe half that. You know, I think it's a 13 horse. It's 420 cc or 20 cc. Yeah, that's about 13 horse, somewhere around in there. So, I mean, you can't beat that. But anyways, that's just a little look at the rig. I've got some Helena 550 lights on the top. I got a switch rigged up here. See them come on both sides. Take the covers off of them, of course. But they're nice and bright. So they do really, really well. But yeah, that's just a little look at the truck. I love it. It's been good. I've done a lot of work to the truck itself. Oh my gosh, worked on the rear end and worked on the drive. I've had more problems with the drivetrain in this truck than anything. Had some issues with the motor. The biggest thing that goes wrong on these 7.3s is electronics on the valve cover gaskets. That I've had tons of problems with those, and injector trouble. That's I think that's kind of the Achilles heel of these motors. But if you can get past that and you're not willing, if you're willing to work on them, they're great trucks. They make good trucks. So yeah, that's just a little look at that. Of course, this here is the shop. This is the back door of the shop, actually. But yeah, I've got a mess, sure enough. Yeah, I always got something going on. But anyways, we'll get started. I know a lot of people have seen this, but some guys haven't. I'll go into more detail for my veteran folks out there. Of course, this is the old Nkow 48-inch brake. Last time y'all saw it, it was sitting right there, actually. And it's been weathered pretty good. It sat outside for a good while I was on a job, so that's why all the rust is on it. But here is my other SA200, which I've had a lot of requests to go into, and guys, I am going to do it. We're probably going to do a series on it. And I'm going I think I'm going to go through the nines with it. I think we're going to rebuild the motor and rebuild the generator and give it a good paint job, and it'll look brand spanking new when I get done with it. So once again, I think this one is also a 73. Actually, this one looks a little bit newer. It's hard to tell unless you had the serial number on it, which I haven't looked. But this machine right here actually came off my uncle's truck. My uncle was also he was a rig welder. He was a pipeliner, and he got killed in 1994. He actually had a car wreck, had a truck wreck. This welder was on his rig when he wrecked, pretty much, and it sat up at my grandparents for years and years and years. And finally, when I got into welding, you know, I wanted a good welder, and it had been sitting up there so long. I think it was 18 years, and I was, how old was I then? 21. I think that's right. I wanted to get his old welder going and see if I couldn't, do something with it. And we got it running, and it sounded good. And there's nothing wrong with the engine, but it wouldn't weld. And I did all kind of diagnosing on it. I tried to get on the internet and look up everything I could. And, I talked to people, and, most people don't know anything about these welders. They, the people that do know stuff, they're few and far between. Pretty much. But I finally think I know what's wrong with it. The shunt coils, which are in the main generator way back up in here, are bad. From sitting all those years out in the weather, it didn't do them any favors. So we're going to get this old welder going again, and I'll show y'all step by step, show you what it takes. But anyways, moving on from that, I'll give y'all a little run through of the shop right here. Of course, last time I did a shop tour, it was a woodworking shop in here, so it's all machine tools in here now. So anyways, my plan is for this spot right here, I'm gonna clean all this out. This is getting really bad, and I'm gonna keep bar stock, short pieces, anything under about 8 foot. I'm gonna keep in here. I'm gonna lean them up against the wall. A lot of my turning shafts and stuff like that, I want to keep all that here. And then on this table, I'm planning on getting a granite slab to do all my indicating and testing on. And on this wall, I want to build like a little shelf here, and this is where I want to put my heat treat oven. So this is all future stuff here. If y'all are interested in any of that, just let me know. So I got a lot of cleaning up to do. It's been a wreck in here lately. Anyways, here's the bench. First thing I ever built in this shop was this bench. It was much longer. It went all the way to that wall. I cut it out to make room for that surface grinder, which I'll get to in a minute. But just a junk table now. I keep a lot of my small parts on here and just miscellaneous stuff, pretty much. I need to clean it up really badly and fix all this stuff up. Here's some old sand casting flasks. I've got some old carburetors and oil pumps and all kinds of good stuff up there. Some of the original boxes. There's the air cleaner off of the 200 that's sitting over there in the corner. I mean, just all kinds of random stuff strewed out here. And here's the crankshaft out of Neil, out of my backhoe. Anyways, this here is my mid-60s Thompson surface grinder. I've actually done a good bit of work to it. I've got the table and everything to move. Everything's working on that, but now I'm having an issue. I'll show y'all if I can. Somebody might can help me out here. This thing has got giant solenoids in it to engage the three-phase motors. So one of them is sticking. It'll engage, and it'll just sit there and just arc, and you have to cut it off. So I don't know if I can take these solenoids apart. I'll show y'all a better picture of it. I'll take a good picture of it so y'all can see, and just see what I can do to fix it. I don't know if I have to buy another solenoid or go through it or what, but everything works on it. Other than that, I had it running. There was a time when it wouldn't arc and didn't run. So really cool machine. If I get it set up, I'll show y'all how to do some grinding tools, like making your own tool bits and whatnot. So I think that would be it'll be an excellent piece of equipment once I get it going, especially on hardened stuff, which is something I want to get more into. Coming over here, I've got this little old shelf, metal shelf here. I keep all of my measuring tool, well, not all of them, but most of them, like my big mics, all my end mills and indicators out the wazoo, and all that kind of good stuff. So just a little glimpse of that. I've got this spot cleared out here. I'm actually going to move the big Baldor. I think it's a 10-inch grinder that's going to sit here. It's 3-phase, so I'll hook it straight to my 3-phase panel. I've also got a rotary converter that's it's relatively new here to power the surface grinder and the shaper, which I'll show you in a second. Just a little look, there's my jig wall, or it used to be. I keep a lot of my kind of the older stuff over here. There's the rheostat that came off the big 40, the one that I repaired. I got a video, I'll put it in the link so y'all can see it. Let me back up a little bit, get around this welder. This is a well, it says Napa on it, but it's a Synchro-Wave wire welder. I'm gonna tell you, this is a old machine. It's probably built back in the, I'd say 90s, if not late 80s. And I'm gonna tell you something, that is a welding son of a gun right there. Most wire welders I've used don't penetrate well, but this one does. So I don't know what's so special about it. It's got components made here in the US and Canada. So it's neat. It works really well. I'm very impressed. Did a lot of work on it, but I finally got it going right. But anyways, here is my early 90s Nkow vertical milling machine. This is a full-size mill. I think it's 54-inch table on it. It's a good mill. It's got some hits and misses in it, but it's still true. I mean, I got a nice Kurt Vise on here. This is an 8-inch Kurt, and I've done some really good work with it. You can see, oh my gosh, this is what I hate about the South. See that? That's water. That's condensation from in here. All the machines are dripping. Anyways, I've actually got it on a variable speed controller. This is a G2 that powers this mill. So I'll turn it on for you and show you. You can see it clock up. That's full speed on there. That's 80 RPM. But man, yeah, I love it. It is great, great, great. You can drill really, really slow, or you can, go at different rates. So I love it. It's very, very nice. I've got to fix the power feed on it. It did have X power feed, and the motor shorted out on it. So I've got to buy a new one and put that on there. Here's my old wood burning stove. A lot of people have seen it in here. I don't know if y'all noticed. I've got 16-foot ceilings in here. I got a mortar rail in here too. But it's very, very hard to heat this place in the wintertime. It is an absolute nightmare. But this heater, it does pretty well. It won't get the heat all the way to the door, but it'll get it probably to the welding table here. So that's good enough for me. So it does pretty good. And then I've got my 1947 South Bend lathe. This is a 16 by 60, I do believe. It might be like a 52 or somewhere around in there. Great machine. I love it. It's got a lot of wear in the ways here. I don't know if you can see it with this camera, but you can see where it's been wearing. It's still pretty darn true though. I'm very, very impressed with as old as it is. I've done a lot of good work on it. You can see all the chips that I need to clean out. But it is a great machine. I absolutely adore it. It's paid for itself, to put it lightly. Coming over here, I got my roll around tool cart. This is also a Harbor Freight special. These are this is actually a very nice tool cart. I think they classify this one as a 6 drawer, or is that 5? That's 5 drawer. I'm sorry, but it handles the weight well, and I've been impressed with it. I like it a lot. And of course, one of the biggest things that people enjoyed the most out of everything that I've done on YouTube is my Excelsior 21-inch drill press. This is a great press. I bought it from a very nice gentleman over in Georgia, and I love it. I absolutely adore it. I still need to do some work to it. I've got some bearings that definitely need some attention that are up here in the drive line, and a couple of other things like fixing the power feed up here. Gotta figure out how to take some slack out of that belt. But it is a excellent machine. It's still very, very true, and it's got a lot of horsepower. I mean, that's where it's at. So I love it. It's a great machine. Coming over here, got my filing cabinet that I keep a lot of my turning stuff for the lathe. This is all relatively new right here, to me at least. I built this welding cart. It's one of the, I think the last video I made, showing how I did that and everything. If y'all want to see, there's a link down in the description. But got a couple of very, very nice welders here. This is a Lincoln 175 square wave. This is a great machine. I absolutely love it. It's got a very, very stable arc, and you can run TIG foot pedal with it. And it's nice. For a big machine like that, it sure carries its weight. I've got a Marquette little 180 up here. This is the first Mig Welder I ever bought. And it's a good little machine. It can't handle, you know, big, thick, heavy stuff, but it does real well on real thin material. So that's what I keep it around for. And then I've got a Cutmaster plasma cutter that it's a pretty good machine. I mean, it cuts really well. I've cut up, I think, to like 5/8 plate with it, but I don't like plasma. That's just something that I just don't enjoy, so I don't use it very often. But it's a good machine. I'd recommend it. It could run on 110 or 220, so that's always nice. And then here's my baby here. This is a Cincinnati 20-inch heavy shaper. I went all the way to Missouri to buy this shaper. I've got a link down there if you want to see a video on the trip that we took to go get it. It is a great machine. I still got to do a lot of work on it, but you can see it's rusting right now. I tell you, the South is a terrible condensation. It doesn't leak in here, I promise you. It doesn't leak in here. It's just sweating. So for the folks out there that don't know much about shapers, how this thing works, heck, I could turn it on, couldn't I, when we do that? Okay, I got the machine on. I'm letting it warm up a little bit. So this machine here, this actually has an electric clutch on it that engages a big clutch that's up underneath that belt housing right there. And it just throws out a set of clutch discs to make the machine run pretty much. I have a lot of people ask me about a shaper, you know, what are they good for? This machine right here, it literally can do just about anything. It can do anything but drill a hole, is what I like to tell a lot of people. It can cut a square hole, but it can't drill one. But just to show you how it works. So it's got a big ram in there that travels back and forth. And every time it goes back, the vise on here, or the table, will move left or right, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So it is a neat machine. It's probably one of the coolest machines out there to watch. So you can hear the oil pump running. It's low on oil right now. I got to put some more in it. How it works, it's got a big old walking beam in there. Big old bull gear. And it just pushes that ram back and forth, and you can see how it's tracking together. Yeah, it's an amazing machine. Gotta fix my door. Ooh. Yeah, you can see the vise walk over. I think I got it set at 30 thou for every time it plunges and walks over. But yeah, I love my shaper. It's a great machine. Just cut it off. But yeah, coming over to here, I've got my old brake drum forge, which this was the very first video that I ever put on YouTube. I'll put a link down here to let y'all see it if y'all want to see it. But don't watch it if you don't mind. my editing skills and just not knowing was embarrassing. It was pretty rough, but I still use it. I still temper with it every now and then. It's handy to have around, so that's always nice. Got a small drill press in the back and just some random stuff back there. I think maybe a settling cart and something else. Got a lot of dead space I need to clear up and make room for some useful stuff. Anyways, coming to this. This is my Grizzly, what is this, a 6? Geo 613. This is a great bandsaw. If y'all are looking for a good bandsaw, I said this in one of my previous videos, that I see a lot of people, they still use chop saws, and I'm gonna tell you, do yourself a favor and get you a bandsaw. If you're doing a lot of cutting, there's nothing better, because a chop saw or any, a portaband, any of that, you have to work that tool, meaning that you have to put your hand on it and make it work. Bandsaw like this one, it's got its own power down feed on it. You set that stock up in there, no matter what size it is, to its capacity, and you turn on, you walk off and leave it. You can't beat that. Come back, make sure you don't drop something in the floor. But I mean, it's great. I absolutely love it. This one right here, the 613, has got a swivel head on it. This is the whole reason I bought this saw. They make bigger saws than this in the price range that I wanted to spend, but they didn't have this option. So you can raise the saw up. You've got a handle down here that you can loosen up, and then you can pull the saw at any degree that you want, within reason. I think it'll go 60 as its full tilt, and it's got a stop for 60 and 45 and 90, of course. But it is awesome. So you can cut this lever on, and you got your power down feed working. It's adjustable, so you can make it go fast or slow, which is really nice. It cuts off when it gets done. It's quiet. Here, I'll show you. It's not super quiet, but it's not bad. Of course, it's got cooling on it. But yes, I recommend it. It is a great machine. I absolutely love it. Then of course I skipped over this. This is my oxygen settling cart, which is no big deal. And then coming over here to the center of the shop, which is my welding table. Now, the uncle that I was telling you about earlier, he built this table back probably in the 80s, if I were to take a guess. It's set up at my grandparents' for a long time, and I saw it up there one day, and I asked my grandmother if I could have it, and she let me have it. So it is great. It probably weighs, I would say, about 1,000 pounds. So there's absolutely no give in this table. It's got skids on it, so you can pull it around if you have to. A lot of times I'll come in here with Cuevas, our forklift, come in here, stick it, pick it up, sweep out from under it, set it back down. Looks like a brand new shop again. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the whole shop. It's got real good flow. I can bring something if it's a certain size in this spot right here. I'll clean out for it, build something here. I do a lot of work on this little spot. Whoa, camera. There we go. I do a lot of work right here, right up under this awning. There's tons of videos I've done just right up under here. That's what I do. So it's got good flow. So I like it a whole lot. But anyways, guys, I hope y'all liked it and hope you enjoyed it. Kudos to the new year, and hopefully we'll get some more stuff to talk about and stuff to do. Once again, guys, y'all take care. Like and subscribe to this channel. And guys, I will see y'all next time. Y'all take care from Classic Work.